have had a very busy week. Our hands were full. Some of us who came to this forum thinking that we know a lot in photography realized that there is quite a bit that we were to learn during the week.
I didn't expect it to be that involving, but then going to the field really made it get busy. And then it was a week that I came to learn so much on photography. Learn about Kisii and profile Kisii, not from words, but from not only photography, but good photography.
When the journalists started photographing, there was a wide range. There were some people who had used cameras before and had worked as professional photographers. There were others who had no background whatsoever, and many were writers. That's what they've done in the journalistic field, and then now they were picking up a camera. And we told them the first day to go to bed as writers and wake up as photographers.
I could call myself among the experienced journalists who have taken photos, and I felt good that my photos were published. But then looking at the reasoning of these trainers, I think even the editors too need to get into these trainings so that they can see how much the pictures speak in terms of emotions, in terms of a clear message.
The editor needs to clear their brain of the preconceived notions of what pictures should be there, what they imagined when they were sitting in their office, 100 miles away, what they think that their boss wants them to choose, what they've seen before, and really just look at the photographs in front of them and appreciate them for what they are and find the one that communicates the story the best.
My perspective of photography has really changed quite a bit. From the usual, taking and clicking away and, you think you're satisfied, I've realized that there is other better ways of doing those pictures to have a greater impact.
Every time I clicked the camera, I never thought about the framing. I knew there was something about lighting, but then I didn't know how to look at lighting. And then other times I got out of focus, I focused on the wrong thing. And all these are things that I have learned that now in my photography, I used like to focus on one subject, but now I know there's a foreground, a middle ground, and a background, and all of them in the frame tell things that are different.
It was interesting that very first day when they were shooting, some of them, they were shooting signs, they were photographing papers, sort of very oriented on just documenting, almost like they were documenting things that they would then look at later for the story that had information or something on it. And slowly, over the course of the week, these people really started to develop a visual language and to see the world and document interactions between people, subtle moments that might tell us something about a relationship.
At first it was so challenging. If you're given a camera, you may think that it is just pointing and, clicking away. But that is not it. We have learned a whole different ways of looking at issues, the perspective, the composition of the pictures, how to take the good portraits, you see. I was looking at even the angles they made us to go to, sometimes even as far as lying down, to literally take pictures. Some of us thought that is going too far, but I've realized that you have to go flat out if you have to get a good job done.
For my photo to speak, it had to be accompanied by words. But from now, I can take photos that are going to speak for themselves, and I've found how powerful photography is in terms of telling a story.
Editing 26,300 photographs, it's hard work, and you're looking at a lot of pictures, and in all honesty, you have to make sure that you're not just blindly looking. If you're not really tuned in looking for those images that jump out at you, it's easy to miss them. When selecting photographs to put them into a story, so that each photograph is advancing the story, so that you don't have sort of a visual redundancy between images, I was really trying to find and choose photographs that first and foremost impacted the viewer, and secondly, communicated something of value and importance about the subject matter. And third, I looked at how they interacted with the photographs next to them in the story. One of the biggest challenges for a photographer going into the field is to not think about what the editor wants or what might work for the publication that they're working for. This is because if this idea, someone else's voice, is rattling around inside their head, it's distracting. And it makes you question your vision. It makes you question the way in which you approach your work. When that happens, it undermines your connectedness and how in tune you are to your subject and how in tune you are to your own creativity. You will not take interesting pictures. They will be boring pictures. They will be pictures that are trying to please someone else. And that is absolutely not the way to do photography.
I am transformed now. I believe that I am going to be one of the best photographers, and I won't need a photographer anyway later. Now from now, I will know how to take my photos, and not only to take. The thing back in my mind is now to use photography to tell the story. At last, I was able to make good images, and I'm very happy. It was very challenging, but then I was determined to make it.
One word. Inspiring.
Interesting.
Awesome.
Exciting. Adventurous. Fun.
It was an eye-opener.
Very, very informative.